Hi, what's up? I'm Andre from the YouTube channel Blattner Comedy, Eddie, the Blue Ranger on Power Rangers Hyperforce, and you're watching Power Rangers Action Activate.
Hey, what's up? It's Action Activate. I am your host, Gazbot. With me, as late, is the Dawg Defender. He will be here shortly, but as usual, he is running into some trouble with Evox or maybe Zed or who knows. Somebody's holding him up, but that's fine because we were going to have a kind of free-form thing today. Anyway, we're going to discuss a little bit of news, do a little Q&A, talk about the Lightning line a lot, even though last week we had a sort of structured thing going for that. This week, we're going to talk about some news that came out right after our discussion. So thank you for those of you that have joined us live. Thank you for those who are joining us later on YouTube, and we'll get right into it in just a second. Let's see, Iron Chris Man. So with my cybernetic upgrade, will I be able to transform? Well, it depends. If you can connect to the morphing grid through the power of will and a purity of heart, then maybe. But that's up to you. You know, have that ability. It's just up to you. Hey, what's up, Babu? The real Babu is here with us. I'm going to go to the Ranger Show format. We don't have the big dog, but you can see that is where he should be in that little area there. No new art this week because I was doing a convention above me. We have the usual cycle of headshots I've done, and I posted my White Ranger up over there. For those that don't know, I'm also an artist. This past weekend, the Big Dog and I were at Silicon Valley Comic Con. Primarily, I was there selling my art, but we did see a bunch of the Ranger actors that were there, excuse me. And, you know, maybe we got some interviews. Maybe we got some shout-outs to look out in the future. I will say that this week after this show, we will definitely have another interview up. So feel free to guess who that might be with. Yeah, we had a good time overall. There was Ranger fun to be had, but also standard comic book fun and everything else. So if you get a chance to go there next year, why not check it out? Dolly Girl, hiya! I can't believe it's already Monday again. I know, Monday came quick. Well, and also last week we had our show a little late because we had stuff going on. You know, the previous weekend, a lot of busy weekends going on. So, like I said, the Big Dog is going to be joining us. But the main thing I wanted to talk about before he gets here, or even once he gets here, I'm going to give myself a one shot again, is I managed to get, pardon my reach down, I already opened it. I managed to get a hold of the 2-pack, I've opened it as you can see, of the Green Ranger and the Putty that was released. It was announced at San Diego Comic-Con, and it came out almost immediately after. And I picked it up at GameStop, which seems to be where most people are finding it. It retails for $40, so don't pay more than that. If you can find it on sale, great. But I wanted to talk about a few things about it because I got it and I like it, but I don't love it. I am not Team Silver Stripe, Iron Chris Man. I don't hate it, but I prefer Vanilla Tommy. Now, for those that don't know what he's talking about, this is the new figure. This is the one that came in the 2-pack, and he's got the silver stripe on his head because this represents how he appeared in the Fighting Spirit episode of Dino Thunder. So it's accurate to that episode, but it's very specific. Now, here's the reason I could forgive it is they do say on the box that it is from the Fighting Spirit episode, and on the artwork and on the picture it shows them that way. So whether you like it or not, you know what you're getting. I know some people are scraping it off. I won't do that because I do believe eventually they'll release a standard Mighty Morphin green that won't have the silver, and if I end up with both, I'd rather have them look different. If I really don't like it, I'll sell it. My bigger complaint, which has been talked about, and it's again not a huge complaint, is the gold. The gold on the shield, if you could tell, is kind of an orangey flat, and on the armband it's a nice shiny gold. And I don't know why, but even before Hasbro got the rights and it was just Bandai, it was very inconsistent with gold. And this was the Bandai one that came out previously from the Legacy Collection. A very nice gold, both matched, a little too muscular for my tastes. But then when they came out with the Zeo one, it was like an orange color. So if something about gold companies have trouble with, both Bandai and Saban and probably others as well. But while we're at it, these are the two. They both retailed for $20. The differences are huge. The color is different. This one's the old one. This one's the new one. This is more of a sort of off green, whereas this is more of a true green. This is more bright white, where these are more of an off white. I'm not even getting into the stripe because that's a different version of the character on purpose. They both came with the Sword of Darkness and the dagger. This one came, no, it didn't come with a Build-A-Figure piece, so this is all it came with. This one comes with an energy effect, extra hands, and the unmasked Tommy head, which is, okay likeness. And if you have the white one, it's the exact same head. So here's the White Ranger from the same line, if you could see. Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting it to focus. Well, trust me, it's the exact same head. If it looks different, it's only because the eyes are painted slightly different on mine, but I think that's just, variation in production. Let's see, Iron Chris Man. I believe gold, ink, and plastic expensive. Yeah, and that might be it, but then make it consistent. Like if they're gonna have it be this sort of gold, then make it match throughout the whole thing. The other thing is the green on this. The gloves are a lot brighter green than the suit, and I'd have to go back and look at a screenshot, but I don't believe that's how it normally was. That being said, I don't hate this figure, and I've got like 3 Green Ranger figures now, and they're all a little bit different. I thought I would be getting rid of all of my Legacy collection as I got the Lightning, but it's sort of like there are things about this one I like and things about this one I like, and so I'm not sure if I'm going to get rid of one of them. And actually, I could even show you. Here's the White Ranger, same thing. This was the original, well, not original, it came out 2 years ago. And then this is the new one. This one is much clearer of an upgrade to me because the shield looks just as good. It's actually a little bit nicer gold, even though it's a soft plastic as opposed to a hard. I don't mind that. And it comes with extra effect parts, and it comes with extra hands and the Tommy head. And again, the likeness isn't my favorite, but you get it, and that's nice. And I like the off-white. I like the less muscular figure, so it looks more like the character on the show as opposed to like a Marvel Comics version of Power Rangers. So overall, I like the Lightning Collection better, but there are just a few things that are not quite perfect. Let's see, Matt Kenneclair, hey everyone, and neither can I. So the other thing, the main reason I got the set wasn't for Green Ranger Tommy, because, eventually I knew they'll release him again, and I already have 2 versions of him before it. What about the Putty? Exactly the real Babu. That is why I got this set. The Putty is better, in my opinion, but still not perfect. Probably the best Putty we've gotten. And here is the Putty. The sculpt is great. The detail, it's hard to see because it's all white, but the detail on the face is amazing. And the Putty comes with swappable hands as well. I left them, pardon me, I got to reach down again. This is when it's hard when I don't have my co-host because I normally throw to him to say something so you don't see me leaning over all the time. But the Putty comes with 2 normal hands and then comes with like a wrecking ball hand and a sort of sword hand. And those pull off right here. So it's the entire like kind of forearm. If I get more, this is like an army builder, so it'd be nice to have 2 or 3, but I'm not going to buy 2 or 3 2-packs unless they go on clearance or something. But if I got more, maybe I'd use the weapons, but I actually prefer them with just the hands to start with. But when I was looking at him, and again, the sculpting I have no problem with, the articulation I have no problem with. And I don't really have a problem, but I was looking at the box. Here I go, bending down again, sorry. When I was looking at the box, if you look at the image, the Putty, the face is a darker gray that more matches the boots and the hands. And also his belt is very white. But when you look at the figure, the face is the same color as the rest of the jumpsuit. And the belt is slightly darker gray, but not as much as the boots and not white. So it's different from the picture, which is odd. And that doesn't ruin it for me, especially if they release other ones, because with henchmen like this, with troop builders, having a little variation keeps them from looking too super identical. But I was doing a little research, and let me check chat here real quick. Chris Murray, so what's your favorite henchman? Oh, that's a good question. Putty's the classic, obviously, but let's go with Putty for now. But wait a minute, what's the one from? I like the one from Time Force, but I forget the name of it off the top of my head. Tengus I do like the Tengus too. You know who I don't like? I'll go the other way. I'll say who I don't like. I think they're called Moogers from. I forget if it was Samurai or something. They kind of look like boogers. They kind of look like loogies. They're just sort of like yellow with like swirls on them. It was from one of the more recent seasons. Those are my least favorite. Hold on a second. I think I just got a transmission for the Dawg Defender. He is home and trying to get on, but he's having trouble. Let me see if I can help him real quick. Oh, let's see. Iron Christmas. I like the ones from SPD with the clearing. For those that are newer here, I've seen every episode of every season of Power Rangers except for 3, and SPD is one of them. So I will get there eventually, but unfortunately I can't have an opinion on those yet. Cyclobots are Time Force, yes, and I do thank you, Matt and Claire. I do like the Cyclobots quite a bit. Loogies are the boogie ones from Megaforce, yes. So Loogies, are probably my least favorite. Cyclobots are definitely one of my favorites, although I'd have to really sit down and look at them all to figure out my exact favorite. But putties and cyclobots are definitely up in like my top, and loogies are almost certainly my least favorite. Let me check something. I'm going to go back to the main Power Ranger show thing here because Bigdawg's having trouble getting on. Let me see what he's doing. I think what I'm going to have to do is, sorry, I'm trying to run the show and do tech at the same time here. I think I'm going to have to, I have him on a hangout. Oh, wait, there he is. Maybe, do we have him?
I did it.
Hey,
Finally.
he did it. Oh, look at that. Let me remove the little AFK for you. If I can remove the AFK. There he is for real. Hey, it's the Big Dawg Defender, everybody. Welcome aboard. Hey, he did it. Oh,
Sorry for the delay, but the good news is I come bearing gifts today.
Oh boy. Well, before you get into your gifts, let me finish up what I was just saying with everybody, because I have the green and putty pack that I picked up recently. So I was going through that. Is that what you're about to show us?
Do you?
Oh, hi, late to the party. Hi, very late. That's awesome. But that's all I've been talking about before you got here.
Oh, did you open it already?
Yeah, man. Look, I was going over the differences between the last release and this and talking about this putty. And I don't know how much you've looked at it, but the thing I was just commenting on was how the face mask and everything is the same color, and it's well molded, but it seemed a little off to me, and it's different than the box color. And so I'm going to switch to a different screen here real quick.
Some people that I've looked at on groups, pardon the classic sounds, were saying that, it's a lot lighter.
It is. Well, the thing is, there are three putties, which I kind of knew but forgot because there's the regular putties and the Z putties. Hold on, I have a bad shot here. I'm going to give you a one shot while I figure out what I'm doing over here. Here.
Okay. Well, initial impressions for me, I love it.
Yeah.
Just looking through, I don't know how other people plan on displaying their putties like weapon-wise, but I'm really liking this. But to be honest, the little like hammer hand is the one I remember the most from the Rita era. So I'm probably gonna break this on camera.
Don't do that, please.
Yeah, I know. Do you just pull yours out?
I did, but I hold them. I held them by the elbow and pulled it off. Don't hold them. Don't pull the whole arm.
Don't pull the entire arm off?
No, don't. Well, let me finish what I was starting to say with the putty patrollers. So I'm going to put on a different view here. This is I'm on Ranger Wiki, and if you look, this is the putty patrollers. This is the original version. I'll see if I can make this picture bigger. No, I can't. Yes. But let me close that again. But basically, this is the main one we saw, and then they had super putty patrollers. Only for like 1 or 2 episodes, and the super putties. And unfortunately, I can't make this too much bigger here for some reason. But that's giving me the complete wrong thing. But the super putty patrollers look more like what we have here, in terms of they are more white, and hold on, I totally messed that up somehow. I'm gonna go back to the 2-shot. But the point is, the original one, and actually here's the original toy from the 90s. This looks a lot more like the original putty because they had the dark gray face, the dark gray hands. They didn't have a belt, or sometimes they had a belt, but not always. And then the Super Putty Patroller is very, very similar, except it had a lighter face color and a lighter belt. So my opinion, they don't label it this is the Super Putty Patroller. I think the hand should still be a little bit lighter than they are. But if they released a single pack, I think it would be colored more like this, and it would be called regular putty, and this is super putty. And of course, Z putty is much more different. But that's my explanation for why this looks different, and that made me feel more okay about it. Kind of like the way I'm okay with the silver stripe, because it's supposed to be fighting spirit. It's not supposed to be standard.
Yeah. How's your configuration right now on his?
Like I just showed, it's the 2 regular hands, and I'll probably leave it that way unless I get more. If I get more, then I'll vary it up. But for now, that's what I'm doing.
Good to know.
All right, so I kind of got through what I wanted to go through there. So feel free to throw anything you wanted out about this 2-pack. Oh man, you just got really small. Good, you talk while I fix you.
Okay. So for the 2-pack, so far initial impressions, I like it. My only fear is, I know we talked about this in prior weeks, of the availability.
Right.
Like, I went to GameStop during lunch today and happened to see a beat up box one.
Mine was a beat up box too, actually. So if you're an open box collector, go to GameStop and get a beat up box. That seems to be the thing.
Yeah. I'm really frustrated that I have to buy this in a 2-pack, but obviously they did it for specific reasons. But
Money.
yeah, that too. But yeah, I think my soft goal is to get at least 3 of these,
Right.
just so I can get a regular one, a blade hand, and a hammer hand. Is what I'm going to call it. But also, just looking at these effects, the good news is, if and when I get multiples, I'm just going to keep these for whatever reasons because they're really cool. I like the material on these versus some of the other ones we get with Marvel Legends
They're a
that
little
are
more
a little
flexible.
too rigid.
Yeah, I agree because you could wrap it around arms or faces because they're always shooting lightning and sparks when they get hit. Let me check chat a little bit because we've been missing them. So everyone's saying welcome, Bigdawg. Real Babu, Operation Overdrive in the house. Yeah. That kind of Claire, nice to see the Defenders finally here. And Funny Steve, Dolly Girl, great minds think alike. So everyone is just happy you're here and happy to have your Operation Overdrive love flooding the studio.
Of course.
Iron CNSP man. So what are your favorite suits? Mine are the Beast Morphers, but Go Busters has been my favorite Sentai suits. Oh, that's interesting. So Beast Morphers and the Go Busters being your favorite. We'll get back to that in 1 second. And Airzoki says, whoa, Bigdawg with a fresh haircut. Yeah, the hair and the beard trimmed up. Well, actually, they were asking me before what my favorite, sort of ground troop putty patroller type character is. And I said I do like the putties a lot. And then I was saying the ones from Time Force, the Cyclobots. But then I also said my least favorite were the Loogies, which the ones that look like phlegm from Megaforce.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you wanted to sound off on that before we go any further.
Obviously, I have an affinity for putties. I like. Why am I blanking on the name? What were the bots from Zeo?
Cogs.
Cogs, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know why I wanted to say Cryobots, which I think is a different season, but
yeah. I mean, they had a lot of robotic ones.
Cogs I liked. My favorite, I would have to say, is In Space. Those I just think are so menacing looking, and I love their big bladed weapons that kind of remind me of. You're gonna know, and I don't. What's one of the weapons from Star Trek?
Oh, a bat'leth from that Klingon that Klingons use. Excuse me.
Yes, just kind of reminds me of that. And then in later seasons, I would say, actually, I really liked the ones from Dino Charge.
Oh, the
Those are pretty cool.
Stingwingers or something like that. Oh no, Dino Charge. No. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Stingwingers. I think were Lost Galaxy.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm blanking on what they were in Dino Charge.
I know the toys are expensive now.
Okay, I just looked up. Yeah, those do look like a bat'leth. Let me. Oops, where'd it go?
God.
Oh wow, I just found a page that has a bunch of. Okay, I'm gonna put this page up so everyone could see it. I was looking for the In Space, but you can see a lot of the different foot patrol type gear. There's the Tangas and the putties. There's the Cogs, and then the Piranhatrons. Okay, there we go. These ones, the Quantrons. Those are from In Space.
Okay. Oh, those purple guys I remember from In Space were weird.
Those are weird. They're creepy more than scary.
Yeah.
And then there's the Stingwingers.
I'm assuming they were in Mega Ranger more.
Possibly, yeah, because we barely saw them. And I found this on Morphin Legacy for just credit where credit's due sake. But then the more recent question was, real quick, Dolly Girl said, in terms of Putty's foot soldiers, I've chosen to watch certain seasons just because they look cool. Well, that's an interesting way to do it. I mean, you're going to see a lot of that costume, so it kind of makes sense visually. But moving on from that, Iron CNSP Man was saying, what are your favorite suits? Again, like hero suits. It's really hard for me to pick because I like most of them. I mean, I like Jungle Fury. Obviously, it's one of my favorite seasons. I like the helmets a lot, and I like the simplicity of the suits. Like, they're one of the few that don't have belts, so they look very sleek. But on the flip side, I really like RPM, which are actually more complicated with but I like the way, actually, I have a RPM right here. I like the way they incorporate like seat belts and like wheels and gears, and then the main three, look different than the second two, and then in Gold and Silver Strip they look different. So I like that. I'm looking around my room at all my different suits. There's very few I don't like. It's really hard for me to pick my favorites. Like I did with the foot soldiers, I will say when I don't like, despite liking the season, is Wild Force. That's one of my least favorite. The helmets are okay, but the weird sort of bland suit with just a stripe across, I always thought was kind of boring and weird.
Simplicity kind of being a large factor. I really like the Alien Ranger suits. I don't know why, but I do. Kaku Ranger, for those that have seen it, for the Sentai. And then I really like the in-space suits. The Mighty Morphin suits I enjoy as well, obviously. And then kind of going down into later seasons. I don't like Overdrive suits, and I also don't like Overdrive. And I also can't hear you, unfortunately. You are silent for me.
Hey, hi.
There we go.
There we go. I was just saying that, I think it's funny when you pretend to not like Overdrive because we all know how much you like it, but you get embarrassed. That's fine. You don't want to let people know, but that's fine. But it is funny that Kaku Ranger / Alien Ranger is one of your favorites because that is also one of my least favorites. And not that it's a terrible design, but it to me just looks like ninjas, just straight up ninjas. Not like Ninja Storm, not like Ninja Steel, but like, hey, we're ninjas. And I'm like, where's the Sentai Power Ranger spin on it? So it always seemed boring to me.
Yeah, fair. Oh, I like the Time Force suits.
Time Force suits are great. I'll agree with that. Yeah, they're real. Like the arrows and the shapes and the helmets and they're very, very good.
And having the bonus one from the RPG, I think is cool too.
You mean from Hyperforce?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think he's gray.
I think they call him silver.
Or silver.
I
only know from the variant cover I have.
Gotcha. Let me see. I can pull up the Time Force real quick. For those that don't know, there's a bunch of images of Time Force. It's got like the arrow. Here's red to give you an example. So they're very unified color. Just very slick design. There's the whole team. So yeah, agreed. That is a good one. I'm not saying it's my favorite, but I think it's a lot of people's. Well, it's a popular season as well, obviously. But the suits themselves, before I ever saw it, I was like, those are cool suits. Other seasons, like I said, like Wild Force, I always thought those suits were not good, and so I didn't look forward to the season. But I actually liked Wild Force, despite not loving. The suits.
Yeah, I would say I'm indifferent on the suits, but I do like Wild Force as a season. Mm-hmm. Dino Thunder, I want to really like the suits, but something about them makes me like hold back a little bit, and I don't know why.
I don't love them. I think black and white are the two best. I think the main three are a little bit boring. And again, I don't hate them, but very middle of the road. Iron CNSP Man talking again about liking the Go Busters / Beast
I really
Morphers
do
suits.
like those suits.
I like the leather look more than the spandex. I don't hate spandex. I just prefer leather. I get that. I do like that they're different. I like that if I was going to cosplay, it would be a lot more comfortable with not having a perfect body. But I wouldn't like it if they all became that. You know what I mean? I like it because it's different. I like each one to have their own little spin on it. But spandex is kind of a mainstay, so I feel like if we never got spandex again, I wouldn't like that either. But with Go Busters / Beast Morphers, what I really like is the sunglasses, the shiny colored sunglasses in the suit. I think that's really sharp looking. That was what stands out to me.
Yeah. Oh, one that isn't a Power Ranger suit, but hopefully is in the future, is
Q Ranger?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. For those that don't know, here's a vinyl of Q Ranger. I'm gonna give myself a one shot here.
Everybody kind of has like a chest gear look to them, which I really like. And for some reason, and you have the vinyl in front of you, so please show it. The Black Ranger, I just love aesthetically.
This is not the Black Ranger. I don't have him, but I have this one.
Oh, you don't have the Black Ranger?
I only have four Q Ranger, and I have the red, and then I have 3 of like the later Rangers. I don't have the whole main team. For those who know, Q Ranger has something like 12 Rangers. 13, I forget the exact.
I don't want to say something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I only have 4 right now, but they all have like distinct patterns on their faces that match their like zodiac sign or whatever. So they're very, very cool. The Zords I like a lot too. So yeah, I have only watched a few episodes of that season, and yet I have all the Zords and a couple of the vinyls just based on the designs being so cool.
Yeah, the Zords are cool as well.
Getting back to chat, Airzuki says, I like Ninja Steel suits a lot despite the season. Yeah, they're pretty good. I agree. For the helmets, I really like Samurai. I also like Samurai. I like the whole suit of Samurai, honestly, better than Ninja Steel. Not to say I don't like Ninja Steel suits, but I'm also a sucker for Samurai. For those that have watched, I sentimentally like Samurai a lot. Airzuki says, I like the texture on the Dino Charge sleeves. I like when they add details like that. I agree. Like the kind of like scaly chainmail-y thing they have on their arms is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I remember before that season came out, I thought they looked pretty cool, kind of like a mix between Mighty Morphin and Ninja Storm is what I thought. Except I hated the big like yellow stripe on it. Like again, before I watched it, like why does it have that? But then I kind of realized it was teeth, and then I realized Mighty Morphin's diamonds were teeth, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine, that works fine. But like I had a weird reaction to like that looks dumb before I thought like it makes sense as much as any of it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'll pull that up for those that don't know. Could you see if there's more chat? I think I missed some other stuff.
Yeah. The real Babu was talking about you cosplaying and said, "Dad bought already." Iron. I'm just gonna say Iron Man for the sake of time.
Sure.
Iron Man likes a Q Ranger suit, blue being their favorite.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree.
I like blue. Yeah, especially Okami Star, I think, and I don't know if they'll do this in the American one, but in the Japanese one, it's like a wolf type character, which I think is cool.
There were 12 Q Ranger Star Visors are awesome. Those might be my favorite helmets if we're considering Sentai. Agreed. It's hard to go wrong, especially when you have so many options.
Agree. Up on screen real quick, I have the Dino Charge for those that don't know. The yellow stripe. You can even see like they have a shoulder pad, which is the eye, and it's literally the whole dinosaur's face. Which, like, I don't know, I didn't see it for a long time. And you may or may not like it, but now that I get it, I like the design even more, you know?
Yeah.
And then, Hirzuki, the diamonds on her teeth? What? I never thought of that. Mind blown. I felt the same way, and I didn't get there until Dino Charge. So that's a long time before I figured it out. Back to a two-shot.
Matt Kendall Clare is having some Evox issues, but their favorite suits are MMPR, Zeo, Time Force, Wild Force, SPD, RPM, and Beast Morphers.
I like all of those with the exception of Wild Force. And Zeo I don't mind, but they're not my favorite. Gold Zeo I think is amazing. The rest of them I think are average. But all the rest of those, good.
I was going to say Zeo's one of those where I like it more outside of that season, which sounds really weird.
Yeah,
but
what do you mean?
I like the suits and how the powers are supposed to continually get stronger and better. Whenever I see it past the Zeo season is when I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like when we saw Trey in space, I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
And again, I don't dislike them, but I just compared to all the other ones on that list, except for Wild Force, I think it's a little bit below. And actually, SPD again, as I said, is one of the seasons I haven't watched, but it is one like Time Force. Before I saw it, I'm like, those are cool suits. Like, I hope I like this season because I like those suits, and I like their civilians. Somebody on one of the Ranger pages, they were like, "What are your favorite civilian suits?" And I don't know for sure that they're my favorite, but I really like the SPD suits because they kind of have a functional utility, like in space and like a lot of others. But they have their colors and kind of like a cool strap, and it sort of has the design of their Sentai suit or their Power Ranger suit in their civilian suit. So I thought that was cool, like as well. As much as I like Jungle Fury, they have those sort of, I don't know what you call them, like a gi or whatever, those shirts. And like if I was gonna get one, I'd probably get one of those, but I probably would look better wearing an SPD one. Also, it's black, so that's slimming.
Fair.
Airzuki says, is this Gaz Science or canon, this MMPR teeth thing? Honestly, I don't remember if I ever looked it up to double check myself or not. I may or may not have. But if it's not teeth, then why do they have diamonds on them? I mean, once I thought about the design as something other than just, hey, it's a superhero, like some art person sat down and designed that. And the whole motif is dinosaur. And every season they follow a motif of some sort. I'm trying to see. I don't have. Oh, wait, here's one. And it's not as obvious as Dino Charge. Here, I got two. I'll put them next to each other. I'll do a two-shot. So Dino Charge, again, you can see the entire mouth and everything. And it's a little bit more obvious. But this one, it's not literally like they drew a mouth, but it's reminiscent of teeth throughout the whole thing on the feet. Otherwise, what is it? A card, diamonds, like red of diamonds. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm 90% sure that's what it is because I this is something I figured out a couple of years ago. So now I can't remember if I double checked myself. Feel free to do the research on your own. But why else would they do that? It just makes perfect sense if it's teeth, right?
Well, I know it because you've seen Zoo Ranger and I haven't. In Mighty Morphin, they use the gems when they're using the dinosaurs, where crystals kind of more of a theme in Zoo Ranger, which
Not
may have
much.
been incorporated into their suits?
Not much. I mean, there might have been another scene or two, but it was about communing with the dinosaur spirits, which in Zoo Ranger were sentient, and they would talk to
Yep.
them, and the Zords were kind of an extension of these god beings. So if anything, it was more about the dinosaurs. And yeah, there were crystals, but it was about the dinosaur spirits giving them their power. So I challenge anybody to find, the proof one way or the other. That's fine. I'll go with that. But until then, these are teeth. Man, these are teeth. Go ahead.
What I was going to say while we're waiting for some more potential questions in chat, do you want to talk about our weekend at all?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, but not yet.
Okay.
Because I wanted to go through some more Lightning Collection stuff before we got to that, and kind of close out this section.
Are we going to talk about the rumors / kind of sort of not reallys that were revealed over the last week?
Yes, that's what I thought we would get into a little bit.
Let's do that.
Okay, let me go to the news full screen, and let me close this thing out.
So while he's getting that set up, for those who don't know, there was a leaked list for the Lightning Collection Wave 3, which Hasbro or someone is listening to me, because it was 2 days after that we did our call shots on this show. So that was kind of funny and convenient time.
I pulled up the hashtag show. They're not the first ones that reported it, but I felt like this was a good sort of reference to use visually while we talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So can you got it on your screen? Can you see it?
I do. I can see.
Okay. So I think the original post, if I scroll down, it was Power Rangers Talk is the one who broke it. Now, this is strong rumor. Not 100% confirmed, but where they look in data mine and find things. And they're saying that the next wave will be Red Ranger Mighty Morphin, which we called, Yellow Mighty Morphin, which we did not, Dino Charge Gold, Beast Morphers Blue, which is where I think we were the most off, because I think we both thought we're not going to get another Beast Morphers that soon, and Lord Draken, which either they're going to have a wave that has 5 this time, or Lord Draken would probably be the store exclusive somewhere.
I'm going with exclusive.
I agree. Maybe Fans Channel where it's in several different stores.
Yep.
Yeah. So go ahead. Why don't you take it from there, and I'll just scroll down as you talk.
So what I will say, kind of talking about last week's conversation, and shout out to Matt Palmer. He actually threw this on the group and was right about us getting Mighty Morphin Yellow. So
yes.
Good on him.
Kudos.
But I think, yes, we were off, but also with so many Rangers, there's no way we could have call shot of the whole list. What I do want to note, though, is because of kind of the themes that we had discussed, I think we now have a much better idea for 4 and 5 and beyond, where we only have so many more Rangers for Beast Morphers, assuming they only do one more per wave. Then we're going to get Yellow, and then eventually we're going to get Silver, and we're there.
Yeah. And at this point, it'd be weird if they didn't close it out, since they kept going. Yeah. But I do think you're right. We were right, though, that they touched on some of the newer ones. I think the thematic mistake we made was we thought they wouldn't get the comics yet, and we thought they would do another middle, like, Disney era, and it seems like they're doing old school, new school, nothing in between in this wave. Now, last wave they did, but...
Well, for this, I think the only thing agreeing with you about, like, going off, obviously they're doing Mighty Morphin.
Right.
Beast Morphers, we didn't think they were jumping in, but hey, more power to you. We left comics off as a caveat because we didn't know if they were going in or not. I really wanted it and could see it happening. Clearly, it might.
I wanted it too. I just didn't have any confidence they were going to do it, and I was wrong.
Yep. And then I think the biggest curveball was we were right thinking that they're probably just going to do anything tied into the reunion in season 2.
Yes.
And that's why it's like anything dino themed, boom, throw it in.
Yeah, and we don't have confirmation that we try to be spoiler free on this channel, but some stuff just gets so out there that it's impossible to not be aware of it. So, with the crossover that most people know is happening now next year, it is happening. The details are not all unveiled, but the fact that they're releasing a Dino Charge Gold figure, it's like, well, maybe Dino Charge Gold is going to show up. We don't know that, we're not trying to spoil, but it's like that would make sense, wouldn't it? And the fact that they had Dino Charge Red in the first wave, that was one of the things where we went back to what older Rangers, or not even that old, but past Rangers would be coming back for the new kids watching it, for people jumping in for the first time now. Yep. And that's what it is. I think we're missing a lot of chat here. Let me just go back a little bit.
Yes, we are. Matt Kevin Clare. Yes, the Z-Rex Blaster is
Okay, go ahead, but you didn't go back far enough.
I thought I did.
Oh no, Iron CNSP man. So what are your favorite combined team weapon?
Oh.
For me, it's Dino Thunders. They include black and white whenever they join.
Okay.
Huh. I'll say not that I dislike them, but I'm not a huge fan of the combined weapons. Which is not surprising. The big dog and he loves the more powered up things get. I tend to like the vanilla versions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you go first because you probably have an answer quicker than I do.
So if we're not counting battleizers or combining with the battleizer or whatever, first one that popped in my mind that I really enjoyed was actually the one in Wild Force, the big spear that they would launch that had the big old beam. That was cool. Obviously, the Power Blaster and MPR is great.
Yeah.
And then kind of going outside of that, the only real one I can think of, I mean, never mind. I can think of a lot of them.
For Lost Galaxy, would the Lights of Orion be considered a combined weapon, or is that more of a power-up?
More of a power.
Okay.
Yes and no, because they didn't really have a combined one, but they would do it sometimes individually, but most of the time together. So.
I kind of like that one, but maybe because it was so different, so that's why I liked it. Yeah.
Just kind of going through, not saying we love or hate these, but there was the 4 weapons put together and in space. There was the big Zeo power cannon.
Oh, I like the one from Time Force too.
That one was all right.
Again, it was different. I like my favorite ones, not including Mighty Morphin, because like it's the first one, so it's got it does it. But anytime it's literally just 5 weapons put into a gun that they all stand next to, that's fine, but it doesn't excite me. So anytime they do something different, I usually enjoy it more.
Yeah, I will say I do have an affinity for the turbo cannon, not because I love the look of it, but the impact it had at the end of that season where it's like, all right, we're going to like use this as a giant bomb and try to blow up this monster. Like that I thought was cool how they used it, as opposed to, hey, we need to kill this monster so it grows. All right, and we're good. All right.
Matt Kendall Clare says the Z-Rex blaster is a good one. And it looks like Evox is gone for now. And then Airzuki. Oh, Airzuki's laughing at me for Gaz Science, and Dolly Girl is joining in. Knowledge zone. Yeah, that kind of clear says action activate requirement that all streams have a knowledge zone. I guess that technically was well, I guess the Big Dog Defender gets his knowledge zone, and I have Gaz Science, which is like probably right, maybe, but unconfirmed. Erzuki says, honestly, Psycho Ranger pink figure or I'm a riot. Oh, getting back to what figures are coming out. Yeah, well, we all want pink and yellow, but pink more so. But the fact that Hasbro started putting them out again, I really think, and we've talked about this before, it's their way of saying, yo, Bandai, you dropped the ball. We're going to redo them and give the whole team. And there's no way they're not doing that. Like, because it would... If they do it, everyone's going to say hooray, and if they don't, everyone's going to be even angrier at them than they were at Bandai. Yeah. So, like,
that's the thing that I don't get is how Hasbro literally can go, hey, remember these figures you released less than a year ago? We're going to re-release all of them and complete the team, and no one will be mad that they have to buy them again because we're actually going to finish it when you said you would and did not.
Yeah, and like Red, even if you didn't want to have to buy it again, like it comes with Lost Galaxy Red, so it's sort of like great. We got Lost Galaxy Red out of it. I got no complaints. Yeah, even like I was talking before about having another Green Ranger. I'm not even that upset about this because it's like a different version, and I have a couple qualms about the paint, but the fact that I got it doesn't really bother me. I guess it would be nice if the Tommy head was a little different because it's exactly the same as the White Ranger. Even if they kept the face sculpt the same, but gave him either shorter or longer hair on one of them, that would be a little nice, but you can't always get everything perfect. Let's see, Dolly Girl, I really like Kyoryu Gold. I have a soft spot for the dinosaur motif and ninja style motif and Sentai. Agree, I like Kyoryu. I like Dino Charge. I haven't watched much Kyoryuger, but Dino Charge is my favorite Neo Sub. Well, Dino Charge is the best Neo Saban season. It's tied with me for favorite with Super Sentai, but I wouldn't argue that Samurai, but I wouldn't argue that that's the best. That's just sentimental. But yeah,
I'm going to go with Dino Charge beating Samurai from everything I've watched.
Yeah, no, everybody would agree with you.
Yeah.
So let's see, Matt Claire, not just Psycho Pink Q, but all Psychos. Yeah, agreed. And that'd be cool as a figure, says Dolly Girl. Okay, a lot more argument about pink and gold. Okay. The crankiness of Psycho Pink embodies my overall mood in life, says Airzuki.
That's what I was laughing about.
Mac and Leclerc, the Jungle Sword is a pretty good one. I thought Space's Quadro Blaster was
Quadro-Blaster.
good. Technically, you could argue Galaxy's Trans-Dagger Star Formation was combined, even though it wasn't quite.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that is kind of cool too. But I still prefer the Lights of Orion to that, only because the Trans-Daggers, the way they look, they always look goofy to me. Like the effect was kind of cool, but it was sort of like curved, like a tooth kind of. It just looked like an awkward like thing to fight with.
All I've learned is everything you talk about for Power Rangers somehow is a tooth.
That's true.
That's the third time today. You're like, hey, remember Lost Galaxy when they had that tooth?
All right, guys.
Oh, yeah, Mighty Morphin.
It's time to reveal my pitch for next season. It's going to be Power Rangers Dental Force, and they're all going to be there to clean your cavities, and yeah, it's going to be great.
Somebody's just going to come up with laughing gas and get the monster.
Right, exactly. And all the monsters are like cavity monsters, and like they have plaque wave powers, and the head honcho is like sitting on Candy Mountain feeding sugar to everybody.
One of the Rangers is going to have a lasso made of floss where they're going to rope in the bad guys, and then from there
you go. It writes itself. So there.
And 10% of the population is going to totally disapprove of the Rangers because 9 out of 10 dentists do agree that you should go and fight justice.
Anyway, back to chat after that joke.
Overdrive.
Iron CNSP man. So with the comic characters being on the table, would you want a Sadarso? Oh, Sadarso brother to be Hyperforce or 2 blues?
2 blues.
Yeah, I think you'd have to start with 2 blues. A, because they've already started Dino Charge, so it would make sense to continue that season and team. And B, like technically those characters were in the comics, but they're really from the Twitch Hyperforce stream, which as much as I love it, most people don't know. So while they put them in the comic, and I think if they're going to do one, honestly, it would be Hyperforce Yellow Jack, because everybody likes that Bulk Paulie became, don't get me wrong, I will take all the Hyperforce, but I think realistically having the 2 Sadarso brothers be blue would make more sense, and honestly would probably be my preference in the beginning anyway to to complete those teams. Iron CNSP man, I know Hyperforce isn't. Oh, okay, yeah. Matt Sinclair, good question. And Suzuki, Gaz loves Jaden. JK, Gaz loves Antonio. That's true. Antonio is one of my favorites, more so than Jaden. Real Babu, we make holes in the teeth. Exactly. Ravinator certainly did. Ravinator certainly did. Yeah. Was that Dino Charge?
Super mega clean.
Oh God. I never should have revealed this secret. You guys you're turning.
The Onion's gonna post an article saying Saban buys back Power Rangers next season. Dental Force.
I wanted it to be RPM, but it's becoming Turbo. All right, so
too good.
Now in this, let me go back to the news shot. In this, because it's all like conjecture based on listings in Walgreens and Walmart and stuff. So a lot of this is in code. These tend to come true, but it's so early we're not 100% sure. But they go on, if you go further down, and say that they might have 4 and 5 as well. And if you look on the screen, the codes are crazy. It's like Wave 3, this is how they're coming with PRG, SPC, Roger Romeo. That's MMPR Red Ranger. So I guess Roger Romeo is Red Ranger, but SPC, how's that MMPR? I don't know. And then Beta Romeo is Beast Morpher Blue Ranger. So I guess Romeo is Ranger, and I don't know that they have a key to actually decode these properly, or if it's just their best guess.
Know.
But as it goes further down, so they're talking about Wave 4, and here Wave 4 says Yellow Ranger, even though they put it in Wave 3, and it goes further down, so they have Sal Roger Romeo, SPD Red Ranger. How are they getting that? I don't know. I'm not saying they're wrong, I just literally don't know.
No, so based on what I'm looking at, it looks like it's based off of the first 3 letters, and the other parts are...
I would agree, except we have Sal Roger Romeo, SPD Red Ranger. So it's just S for SPD. But how do you not know that's like, well, I guess Ninja Steel beat N or whatever.
Dino Charge, BDY is Beast Morphers, but maybe, I don't know.
And then Romeo Silver Ranger Slayer. So going back to comic stuff, theoretically, if they're right, we'll be getting Ranger Slayer in like a year and a half. And then, but then look at this, SPC Beta Romeo, MMPR Blue Ranger. So how is SPC MMPR? I don't get that. TF, Roger. I mean, these are good guesses. I'm not saying they're not, but it might not be true. It might also be a thing where this is in the system now and this is their intention, but they could change it by the time we get it. So all I'm saying is take all of this with a grain of salt, especially the later waves. Wave 3 seems to be the one most likely to be accurate, but the other ones, the further out we get, the more likely it is to change or be interpreted incorrectly. So let's see. Make all these. Iron CNSP Man. What do you think of the Ranger Slayer design? I love Ranger Slayer. I like Ranger
Yeah.
Slayer more than Draken. I'll go that
Ooh,
far.
hot take.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you and I have discussed this. The one thing I don't like about the sword is I feel like it should be, or the bow rather, I feel like it should be backwards.
Backwards.
It really bothers me the way they have the string on it.
I'd have to look at it. Actually, well, you explain what you mean. I'll try to pull up a picture.
So the way I interpreted it, actually, this is a perfect. Where did it go? I'll use this for example. So it's based off the Sword of Darkness.
Okay.
Let me pull out my new Sword of Darkness.
The Bow of Darkness, right?
Yeah. So here, it would seem like you would have this facing outward because if your hand was here, it would hit you in the wrist because it's pointed downward toward you. But that's how they have the bow. Instead of having it curved this way with the arrow pointing here, it's reversed
Right.
with the serrated part out and this facing toward her,
And I'm
which
putting
makes zero sense to
I'm
me.
putting the screen on now. I see what you're saying, and if the people look at the screen, those points of the swords look like they will stab her in the wrist.
Correct.
So
and
I get
they curve
that,
it like crazy far.
but it has to
when
be
they could've-
curved that way. If it was the other way, it wouldn't work as a bow.
Yes, it would, because if you have a recurve bow, then you pull it backwards and it would still it would work. They just so for the way they designed it there, they made it way farther curved the other way. If you look at their original Sword of Darkness, it's
Well, it's
not
also
as,
sort of doubled already. So we
Yeah,
assume that
but
there's been
they-
transformation involved.
yeah, they made it go way more one way than another, where if they kept it neutral or pulled it back the other way, it still would have worked stylistically. The biggest thing, though, is the stabbing in her wrist. I really can't help but be distracted by that every time I look at it.
Right. And let me go to, but I'll bring up another point. Here's the original bow for the Pink Ranger, which looks like it similarly is made of clay or something. It wouldn't work. So I will have to answer magic. The answer is magic because it doesn't make sense. You're right. But the original one didn't really work properly either in physics and in what we understand about things. And I'm not even saying. I'm saying magic in the sense that maybe they can't hurt themselves with their own weapons. Maybe like the things are made out of energy and not a physical whatever. No.
The energy part's fine, but
Right.
also from a stylistic perspective, if you, for anybody who's done archery, if you were to rest your arrow here, that makes sense. That's away, and there's nothing to rest the arrow on. Even if it's made of energy, from a standpoint of this is supposed to be a bow, there's nothing for your arrow, magical or energy or not, to rest on as a basis. So where's it like?
Well, no, but if it's magic, it doesn't matter. Like
It does matter because she's going to stab herself in the wrist, and you're wrong, and I disagree.
Fair enough. I think it's
God, frustrates me.
If somebody was trying to fire a real bow like that, I would agree with you. But I really just think it's magic. It's dark magic from another dimension at that. So like. Actually, somebody just said this in chat. So I'm skipping a few, but Arizuki says it's a sign of badassery, A. And then B, do you think those wrist guards could be penetrated? Oh, ye of little faith. I guess not everything could be as well designed as Operation Overdrive. Which is a good point. She's got wrist
Overdrive
armor.
out of this. It's got nothing to do with this.
She's got wrist armor
altogether.
So why wouldn't that protect her? And again, from their own powers. It's the way Superman can't hurt himself with his own strength or his own heat vision. It's sort of an all-encompassing, because the suit is from magic too. It all comes from the morphing grid. It's not like the suit is from something different than, you know.
I've got it. I've got the way to retort this. So she also uses it as a melee weapon, correct?
Yes, correct.
Why would she not have extra outward guarding of other bladed weapons where she actually makes it more easy to be cut in the hand?
Because she can't be cut. She's not afraid of it. And as Arizuki said, it's just a
No,
sign of
you're
badassery.
wrong. You're just wrong.
That's fine. You could pretend I'm wrong. Let's go check chat real quick. The Ranger Slayer design. Matt Kendall says Ravinator was Mighty Morphin Season 3. Oh, he was a Malthane monster that was shrunken down and placed in Tommy. Wow, I did not remember that episode. Thanks, Real Babu couldn't resist the reference. Real Babu says, look at the codes for Wave 3. They match up to 4 and 5. That's true. I noticed that too. So, I mean, maybe they got it all figured out and they're code breakers, but even if they're 100% right, things can change 2 years out because they probably don't even have prototypes yet or whatever. So I'm not saying they're wrong. I mean, they obviously have more insider info than I do. I'm just saying
Yeah.
don't count on it 100%. And Erzuki says, dude, they're wearing helmets. Some face stabbing is an okay price to pay. Okay, I'm going to skip down this here a little bit. Real Babu, silence! Overdrive has no meaning when dealing with weapons.
It's true if you watch the season.
Good one, Steve. And then Iron CNSP Man, Tommy stole a Blade Blaster and hurt the normal Rangers with your weapon so your weapon argument doesn't work. So
Ooh! Because their weapons hurt themselves.
But
so you are refuted.
But that was an energy blast. That was an energy blast, not a melee attack. Probably.
Yeah, you're just wrong.
I guess you're right. I am wrong. I am wrong that maybe they could hurt themselves, but it's dark magic, so maybe like I hurt myself and I get more powerful.
Being an apologist, and nope, I don't accept it.
I am being an apologist, but I won't apologize for that. Real quick, going back
side
to
note.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if I keep looking away and everybody wants to know what I'm looking at this putty because I just love it so much.
I'm gonna go back to news full screen. Regards to Lightning Collection, the Wave 2 that's actually available-ish now on Hasbro Pulse, you can order Beast Morpher Red. You can only pre-order the other 3. I don't know why. It seems like Red has come out, and actually I have proof of that because while I don't have it with me, I found one at Walgreens today. And I've seen online people finding Walgreens. Somebody claimed
you didn't buy it today?
Oh, I did. I just don't have it with me. It's in the car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
So what I'm saying is confirmation that Beast Morpher Red Lightning Collection is available specifically at Walgreens. I don't know where else. I saw online somebody say they got a Magna Defender, but I don't have proof of that. But on here and on Amazon, it says coming soon. Now down here, if you notice, the 2-pack from San Diego Comic-Con, anybody who couldn't go, they're going to be selling the overstock through Hasbro Pulse. Right now, if you have a membership, you could get it right now. If you don't, it'll come out later on. And that's for the retail price of $50. So don't pay over that if you're thinking about getting it until you find out if you can or can't get it from Hasbro Pulse. So let me close that. And there's the 2-pack. Yeah, there's the Lightning Collection. The main difference, because I have the SH Figure Arts, aside from scale, we get the head, but also the digital effect on the sword I really like. And I forgot to bring the figure in, but that's the first kind of new effect we've got other than lightning, and I like it a lot.
I do as well.
Going back to the first wave, I've talked about this on the group. Buy from Amazon if you're going to buy. Right now, Doggy Kruger SPD, $11.19. He's been even lower. I saw him for $8.99.
Yeah, he got down to 7 something.
Most of them are below retail. You can see Dino Chargers at 16, White Rangers at 16. So if you haven't got these yet, try to get them on Amazon because that seems to be where they're cheapest right now.
Yeah.
And this is the wave that's coming up. I just had an image of that.
I don't understand how he is so low when he is arguably the second best in that wave.
I don't, regardless of how cool they are or popularity or anything like that, I think just familiarity with character, familiarity with characters, it does seem like that middle era is kind of overlooked by a lot of people. Like, I mean, hardcore Ranger fans know all of it, but the casual or new fans know the old stuff and they know the new stuff, and the middle gets a little bit lost. I think that's changing as people go back and discover it or whatever, but I think really think that's what it is. I mean, the real test will be with Magna Defender because he's sort of the equivalent of like a middle character that's very cool that people might not know as much. Although arguably he's still kind of really close to that Saban era, so we'll see.
And he just looks cool in a vacuum.
Yes, but so does Shadow Ranger. If you don't like the dog head, you just put the other one on. But
true,
we'll see. Let's check chat real quick. Whoopsie. What?
Whoopsie.
Iron is Amelia, and he at red. Yeah, I'm wrong. I'm wrong about that. Okay, fine. I'm an apologist. Arozuki, yeah, but I'm looking at photos of Ranger Slayer. Oh my God, we're still on this. And there's definitely enough clearance between the stabby parts in her wrist that it really seems okay. And she's resting the cocked arrow on her finger like it's a badass who doesn't need a fancy bow rest. Obviously, it works and she does it. Is she putting herself at more risk? Maybe. But again, she's evil, so maybe that's part of the point of like, look how badass and evil I am.
I'm not going to blame her. I'm going to blame whoever designed it.
Wouldn't that be Tommy or Rita?
No.
You mean the artist in real life?
Yes, I'm getting out of the board and going.
Okay.
I'm just frustrated at whoever decided
you find which artist first designed that and send them a letter.
Or if I see him at a con, go, I really like most of your work.
Why would you do that? Why would you? I like 90% of what you've done, but I'm going to start with a negative.
I love how you took yourself out of this equation and went to an artist and you're like, that would be terrible. Don't do
Yeah.
that to someone.
Because again, for people that don't know, aside from just trying to be a good human being, I am an artist who works at conventions. And if someone came up to me and said, "Boy, I love everything you do except for this one thing is terrible," I'd be like, why would you, it's okay that you don't like it, but why would you why would you focus on that? Just don't mention it or walk along. You don't need to, so yeah. But also just being a nice human. It's unnecessary.
I am nice, okay? Not mean most of the time.
I'm nicer.
It's not saying a lot.
No, it's not. Iron CNSP man says, I grew up with the Disney stuff and people don't give a lot of fair chance because the fights are seen as worse. I didn't grow up with the Disney stuff, but I do like it. I've heard the complaints of the fights being worse, but that's Sentai footage. That's not Power Rangers' fault.
I don't think no. So I think the arguments people make of saying that the Disney stuff is worse for those who haven't seen History of Power Rangers from Linkara. He goes through all of this and he calls it the Kalish explosion.
Yes.
Bruce Kalish, one shot, was behind the scenes, and for some reason, from a stylistic perspective, whenever there was an explosion, you had to see it 3 times, and the third time was in slow motion. So people kind of got sick of it, and it does get really boring after a while, but that's why in the Disney era specifically, it's so prevalent where it's just like in your face during the battles, you're like, okay, I've seen you jump and there's an explosion. Great. Can you get back to the fighting now? And that's the argument. I would say that the fights are fine. It's the editing that makes them seem worse.
The explosions don't bother me too much, and maybe if you're watching it week to week and back to back and everything, then that could get annoying. But I don't know, I binged a lot of this, so it wasn't like I was waiting very long for the next thing to happen. But I also they have a lot of wire work stuff, which I like because it gives a new dimension to it, and you still have stunt people who are good at what they do, and they know their martial arts, or at least they know how to make it look like they know martial arts. And then you give them another tool, and if it's supposed to be a regular person, it's silly, but they're supposed to be magical superheroes or technologically infused superheroes. So giving them the wire work, I like that. I think it gives it another dimension that helps. I was trying to find the Kalish explosion that I could share with people, but I'm having a hard time finding it, so I don't want to look for that right now. Maybe you could throw it up on the group later so people can see exactly what you're talking about.
If people see it, yep. I'll probably forget, just full transparency.
Okay. Well, if anybody wants to throw it up there, feel free to share with everyone else. Matt Kendall Claire, or actually Facebook, this is the page for the thing, and this is the group where you guys could post. And so Matt Kendall Claire says, was never a fan of the Kalish explosions in the fights, and there's a fine. These are fine, but the explosions were edited. Yeah, same thing you're saying. I did like the wire fu. So basically, he agreed with both of us. The wire fu is good, and the explosion is bad. Fine, good, excellent.
Agreed.
All right, so I think we're done with toy stuff.
No, we are not.
Oh, we're not. Okay, what do you got?
One thing you've seen, but we forgot. So a lot of people, like Gazbot and myself, pre-ordered Goldar from GameStop because it is a GameStop exclusive.
Yeah.
Now, I can't explain this, I can't rationalize it, and I can't fathom why it's being done, but people's pre-orders are being canceled.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Mine has not been canceled yet, luckily.
Nor has mine, knock on wood.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's connected to the fact. Here's the thing. I went to my local GameStop. I like to go in there and look around and talk to people and pre-order. I enjoy that. So I went in and pre-ordered, and I didn't do it through the site. But people online have been going, hey, I got my Goldar. Here's my Goldar. Almost all of them, if not all of them, had them mailed to them from ordering through the site. So somehow, pre-ordering through the site and having to get it boxed and shipped and arriving at their house is faster than ordering it directly from the store where you're willing to go pick it up. My worry is that the amount they had made was not enough to cover the orders, and because people order online are getting theirs first, stores are getting shorted, and that's why people are getting canceled. That's my theory.
It's a good theory.
Okay.
Here is my question to you.
Yeah.
It seems like the ones that are canceled are online. So how come there is a disconnect between them not getting them in stores,
right,
some people getting theirs early, some people getting theirs canceled, and then no concrete communication through any source of when we should actually expect them in stores?
I could answer that because GameStop is trying to save themselves from bankruptcy by getting into the toy and collectible market, but has no idea what they're doing. That is my answer.
That's fair.
Yeah.
100%.
In chat, let's see. It says, Airzuki says, "Oh geez, this friggin' Goldar, the saga of Goldar." Yeah, it's gonna be a mess. But I have faith that I'm gonna get mine, and I actually, I know the people that work at my shop, so hopefully
Yeah.
they'll remember me. Not that I want special treatment, but like I ordered it, I paid, so I should get it,
Yeah.
and I'm not just some random dude. Like I go in there all the time, they know who I am. Real Babu, excuse me, Real Babu says Evox is canceling them, and Iron CNSP man says I have seen a lot of people who said they have never watched the Disney season, but they're bad because of explosions. Well, that's just silly. Saying something's bad when you've never seen it is just not giving it a fair shake. Even if you don't like the explosions, the rest of it might be good, and who knows, you might watch it and not mind the explosions. And you can't just watch an episode or two and say it's terrible either. Sometimes it gets better or worse over the course of it. I mean, look at Operation Overdrive. I mean,
I was waiting for you to turn this into a dab at
yeah.
me.
I mean, the Bigdawg thought maybe he wouldn't like it, but now he's been watching it, and it's just the love is growing every episode.
Still really doesn't like it.
Oh, you don't have to pretend. We're all friends here. We know it's your favorite. But anyway,
all I will say,
say it.
Cap the Overdrive back and forth is I have seen a bit more of Overdrive than Gazbot. We are both technically starting at the same point and watch it together and are on the same episode, but I have seen the crossover that he is not.
Right.
And that is why I feel so strongly. And when we get there, then I would like to see what
that is why you feel so strongly that it's one of the best seasons, because that episode is probably great, and I haven't got there yet, so I understand.
First of all, it's a two-parter. Second of all, you're wrong.
Fine. All right, are we done with toy news now?
Your garments betray you. Yes.
Yeah, I sent no message. All right.
There was no transmission to the likes of you.
So the next thing, we're getting towards the end. It's been about an hour. I don't want to have another 2-hour episode. But I did want to talk a little bit about the next big Ranger. Well, there's going to be a Ranger show in, I think, Texas called, oh my gosh, I think Matt Kendall-Clare is going to be there. Or not Matt, I'm sorry, Matthew Palmer is going to be there, Immortal Red Fox. And I can't remember, it's like Toku, Texas Ranger Stop. I think Ranger Stop's the one in Florida. Anyway, I'm not going to it, so it doesn't matter. But the next one that potentially could be coming up is going to be, for me / us maybe going, is going to be Ranger Stop. And let me see real quick. Iron Man says, honestly, I prefer explosions over the MMA Pure Fight as though there's too much of an impact. However, I think better than no impact. But yeah, I agree. I'd rather you go over the top. Too much is better than not enough, in my opinion. Erzuki says, yeah, no 2-hour episode. You got to hang out with your wife. Sorry, folks. Erzuki knows my wife very well. And then Maiko X Long 2012. Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up, Maiko? Welcome towards the end of our chat show today. Normally we have a little bit more of a format, but today we're just kind of loosey-goosey in it about Ranger stuff.
Ranger ramblings.
And then More Phenomenal Expo. Thank you, Real Babu. More Phenomenal Expo is going to be coming up in Texas, I think the end of September. I will not be going to that for sure. Neither will be the Bigdawg. If you are going,
okay,
have fun. Feel free to share pics and stuff like that.
Yep.
And enjoy it. But we are talking potentially, this is not a confirmation whatsoever, of one or both of us potentially going to Ranger Stop. And I will go ahead and put that up here. So whether or not we go, this is what they have the lineup so far. So they've got, Ranger Stop is not quite as big as Power Morphicon, but I feel like it's definitely like the next biggest, and it's getting bigger. So they've already got, Austin St. John, a lot of the Mighty Morphin people, and a lot of people that we've seen before, but they've got some first timers like Psycho Black, I think might be his first ever. Psycho Blue sometimes does it, but he's no more of as a voice actor. We got Melody Perkins, and then Glenn McMillan, Ninja Storm Yellow. This is his first U.S. appearance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and for us, Durrani, I don't know if he's done an appearance before, but I've never seen it from Mystic Force Red, and then John Tui. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. So a lot of people that either have never done a show before, who don't do shows often, or who have never done a show in America are going to be there. And then for the newer stuff, we got Brendan Mejia, and then we got James Davies, who, while we see Brendan a lot, I haven't seen James Davies, Dino Charge Black, since he was on the show. And then we are starting to now get some more Ninja Steel folks now that their season has passed, because when it was still on, it was hard for them to show up. So they've got a pretty good mix of old, new, fan favorites and like new people to the scene. So that's pretty cool. And what's funny is on the exhibitor page, they have a photo as an example of what an exhibitor could be, and that guy might look familiar to you. That's me from last year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I didn't know that until I was looking at it. I'm like, oh, look who else might be there. So I thought that was pretty funny.
For those attending, assuming you're going, is there any new art people should expect or hope for or anything like that?
Well, again, I don't want to 100% say I'm going and commit in case things fall through. But I'll have lots of Ranger art. I'm going to have, I always try to have new headshots of every actor that's going to be there, which means, I mean, anywhere from like 8 to 12 new pictures I'll have to do by then, which, ish, yeah. I already did In Space Black. My goal is to have the whole In Space team, which previously I didn't. Now I have to do silver and pink. So I'll at the very least have the In Space team, which will mean that I have a headshot of every Ranger through the entire Zordon era, assuming you don't count Lost Galaxy. Other than that, I'll have the Common Rider. I should say Masked Rider, Kamen Rider DX, the Masked Rider. I did a piece for that, and a few other things, but I don't want to. I don't want to overcommit, and then not have it. Or I think I might even be there, but I'm even if I don't go, I'm excited to see how it goes because I was there last year and it was pretty good, and it seems to have stepped up since last year. Let's see.
Speaking of conventions,
go ahead.
Didn't we just go to one?
We did. Let me check chat before you get into that. Morphonomic Expo. We're doing good, Mike. How are you? I'm doing good. I assume the Big Dog's doing good.
I'm doing fine.
Okay, there you go. Good and fine. Iron CNSP man, I hope to an extent that Hasbro can make the PR fan base more like Transformers, where you're not shamed for not starting with the right show. I agree, and I've thought of that with their Marvel stuff too, where they have like the current movies and they go all the way back to the '60s and a random '90s version, and yeah, they treat it all as one big thing. And I know a lot of people who collect those lines didn't care about those seasons or those iterations of the characters that'll still get the figures because they're cool figures, and then maybe get into that as well. And I agree. I'm hoping that's what Hasbro could do for Power Rangers because Bandai could not do that. And let's see. Real Babu, San Antonio, September 14th and 15th. I won't be there either. Oh, for More Phenomenal Expo. So somebody's going to be there, but not me, Big Dog, or Babu. But Matt Palmer with Mortal Red Fox, I believe, is going to be there, as well as a bunch of Power Rangers. Matt Kendall Clare. Faraz Tarani, I believe, went to a previous Power MorphCon, if I recall correctly, but that's all I'm aware of. Okay, so maybe did one before.
He wasn't at the last two.
Correct. So he may have done a convention, but certainly not somebody I see coming up very often. Iron CNSP Man says, wrong is the word, not right. Never mind, I'm tired. And Airsuki, silence. So we really got to start wrapping it up. So you want to talk about the show we just went to?
Yes, so we went to Silicon Valley Comic-Con.
Correct.
From Friday through Sunday.
Yes.
It was a fun time. Met a lot of cool people. Reconnected with a lot of people locally as well.
Yep.
And there were a few Ranger actors there. There was David Fielding, who plays Zordon. There was Karen Ashley, who plays Aisha. There was Johnny Young Bosch, who plays Adam. And there was Austin St. John, who plays Jason.
True. Was Johnny Young Bosch there?
He was.
No, I know. I'm making a joke because I literally never saw him. Every time I went anywhere near his table, I never even caught a glimpse of him. But anyway, go ahead.
He was a busy guy. So is it okay if I share something?
If you want.
Okay.
I usually keep people guessing, but if you want to share something, go ahead.
So I don't always get autographs at shows, but this time I thought, you know what? It's time to do it.
Oh boy.
So I went and got myself an autograph by Austin St. John.
That looks like Austin St. John Jason is what it says on there.
It does. Oh, I did it the other way. Sorry.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect.
So this is a mask I had since I was a kid because back in the day,
bootleg,
there weren't the cool Legacy and Lightning Collection helmets that we have now. So I ran around wearing that on my head while I was playing Power Rangers. But he was super nice, really cool guy to talk to. It was awesome meeting him. It was definitely something I checked off the old bucket list. And I'm excited to potentially see him at a con in the future.
Agreed. Yeah. I'd met him once before briefly, and then I met him again with the Big Dog, and yeah, very nice guy, very outgoing, very talkative, which has been true of almost every Ranger actor or anyone affiliated with that I've met. Now, there could be some bad eggs out there. There could be some people just pretending, but generally speaking, they're good people, and it's good because I almost feel like when they're casting for that sort of, and the villains too, but when they're casting for this sort of show, they're looking for good people as well as good actors, and that carries through, and it makes for a good experience. Because sometimes you meet people that, not even that they're terrible people, but they're just not very personable, or they're not really interested in talking to you.
Yeah.
And I rarely, if ever, I've had that experience in the Ranger fandom, which I think is great. Speaking of, we will have another interview with someone coming up this week.
Hmm.
We have a couple in the bank from. Here's the thing: when we do shows, we meet people. Every now and then, we get a chance to do an interview, and
Hmm.
we bank them because I don't want to put up like all of them at once because it doesn't happen that often. So we spread them out. So it's not even
Yeah.
necessarily from the show we just did, but at some point we interviewed somebody. But there will
Yep.
be an interview coming up sometime this week. If you want to take some guesses, feel free. But otherwise, just stay tuned. You'll see it on the YouTube channel. We don't put the interviews here. We put them on the YouTube channel, which
Hmm.
actually I'll put up the link there, which is where we rebroadcast this. Tomorrow, this will be the recorded version up there. And right now, actually, I'll go to the news shot so you can see. Right now, we have 5. We got Immortal Red Fox, Matt Palmer, and then we got Babu from Mighty Morphin, Steve Andrino, and then we got Dino Charge Red, Brendan Mejia, and Yellow in Space, Tracy Lynn Cruz. The newest one was Blue Time Force, Michael Copon, and there will be a new one this week, and probably for the next couple weeks we'll have a new one because we have a few in the bank, so that's
Hmm.
pretty cool. But speaking of the Immortal Red Fox, I'm going to just let this play. For those that don't know, The Immortal Fox is an independent American tokusatsu series that's just getting off the ground. It's pretty cool. I have the sound off here, but obviously there normally is sound. And they have episode 2 up now. There's a few like preamble episodes, behind the scenes things, but episode 2 is up right now, and it's almost at 1,000 views. If you could help it get to 1,000, that'd be awesome. If you haven't seen it already, you want to share it around. But episode 3 will be dropping, I believe, at the end of this month. If Matt Palmer is still in chat, he could throw it out there, but I believe at the end of this month. And from what I understand, it's already done. It's just he's waiting to put it down, and then
Hmm.
4 may or may not already be in production. I mean, I know a little bit behind the scenes, so I don't want to say more than I should, but I know that there are plans far beyond episode 2 and 3, and I have had some interaction with some of them, and so have some other people. It's not really my
Hmm.
news to give. It's not really a secret, but my point is, check it out, support it, and more is coming. And I just wanted to throw that out there since it'll be happening soon.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
What I will say from my fan perspective of it, and similar boat that you're in,
Yeah,
um, if you like Power Rangers, definitely check it out. If
yeah.
you like Super Sentai, for sure check it
Oh
out.
yeah,
And also just to see different updates, and even from like the thing I love about the Immortal Red Fox and what Matt Palmer's done is he gets so many different ways for you to get something out of it.
good
Whether
point.
it's just because you love watching the great stories, if you want to learn how to do your own cosplays and kind of do some things for DIY, his channel or his page, the Immortal Red Fox page, all that is great for that. And
Yep.
also just kind of sparking things that you like. I know you and I at the show actually were talking to a few people who said that they have projects that they were
Right.
inspired to do, not necessarily from this, but just in general. And
Yeah, yeah.
if you can get kind of that inspiration from something else, especially something like this, then go check it out and
And
help keep supporting.
it's multimedia as well because it's a show, but he also has a manga out, and there's another one coming in that, and he has prints, and he had a figure for a while, like a Hot
Yeah.
Toys style figure. And when you go to shows, he's got suit actors. Like it's a whole multimedia thing. So if you ever get a chance
Yep.
to go to a booth where it's at or whatever, check it out. But hey, you could go to his YouTube channel, watch it for free, cost you nothing. You could do it from home. So I don't know. It just wanted to throw that out there.
Yep.
We're going to close it out. Let me just check, see if we missed anything in chat here. Iron CNSP Man, what do you think of the Hasbro tier system for their toys? I'm not sure what you mean, to be honest.
I think I know what you mean. If you're referring to how they have it for Transformers, where they have different age tiers,
Yeah.
I'm cool with it because personally, I love that they have Power Ranger toys for toddlers, just
Yeah.
so you're able to get them out there. I know, especially for people having kids, like that's a great way to have their toys and your toys, and then
Yes.
kind of in between some toys that are a little more durable, less
Right.
intricate that kids can bring with them. They
Like-
won't break as easily,
like
and then
the Beast Morphers stuff too.
Yeah,
Like that's what I'm
exactly.
talking- yeah. Whatever the current season is needs to have a non-collector's price tag line because that it's for them. Whoever is watching the current season and is a kid is who it's mainly for. The
Yep.
little preschool stuff, that's for people who are fans that have kids. And then the collector stuff is for us oldies. So,
Yep.
hopefully you service all of them and I agree that's great, but the most important one is they have to have a good line of reasonably priced stuff for the current season. So
And
yeah.
the thing I'll give Hasbro full props on is we have crossed over into, I guess, a prior tier because of how great the basic figures are.
Mhm.
they're just so cool. They
That's
scale
true.
well. They have
Yeah.
great accessories, great paint, and the fact that we have double dipped on a lot just shows how great they are.
Yeah, I've been having, especially since they've announced all the Beast Morphers coming out in the Lightning Collection. I've been like, what am I like? I don't. It's tough. It's a tough decision, which it shouldn't be.
Yep.
It should be an easy decision, but because they're both so good, I'm having difficulty. So will there be any live interviews anytime soon? I don't have plans for any. The playlist I just shared, which is on the Gazbot YouTube channel, which I just shared the link. 2 of those were live with Steve Andrino, who plays Babu, and with Matt Palmer, who we were just talking about with Mortal Red Fox. Those were both live. We're certainly open to doing live interviews. They're a little bit harder to set up, so often we're just grabbing them at a con where we find people. But if you know anybody that's interested, yeah, certainly we're open to that. And, who knows, we might even interview one of those guys that, again, because we know they're open to it.
Exactly.
And then finally, I was more Iron CNSP man again. I was more on about the tier being their big franchises, tier 2 being licensed like Marvel, and tier 3 their small franchises from tier. Oh, that makes sense. I have no problem with that. I mean, I can't. I love Power Rangers, but I can't pretend it's doing Avengers money. They got to build small, and they're building because Wave 1 was 4 figures, and then 1 exclusive, I think, Goldar, which still hasn't come out. And Wave 2 or 3, or however you want to call it, it's like, okay, we're getting 4 figures, two packs, not including the San Diego one, and then they've announced another exclusive. And it's ramping up. It's definitely ramping up. And I would rather they ramp up slowly and not lose money and not lose confidence and grow that base and have it succeed than be like, okay, here's $10 billion. Oops, it failed. We're done. So I have no problem with that, and I already think they're doing better than Bandai did it. My only caveat is when we see what role play and or Megazord items they come out for the collectors, because they put some out for the kids with mixed results. The Beast Morphers Henshin device is great, but then the gold one is kind of dinky, and the Zords are fine. I don't love them. I don't hate them. So I'm happy with everything they're doing. I think they're doing it the right way. I already think they're doing a better job than Bandai. The proof of the pudding is going to be when we get some adult collectible stuff that isn't figures, and then we'll see what they're really doing. All right. Iron Man says PR will probably go up with how well Hasbro said it's doing to tier 1. It'll never be tier 2 as that franchise they don't own. Gotcha. Okay. Well, a lot of good interaction. Thanks for all the new viewers, the old viewers, the live viewers, the pre-recorded viewers. We went a little bit over an hour, but considering what we've been doing the last couple weeks, that's pretty good.
True.
We'll of course be back next week live on Twitch at 5 p.m. California time, and then rebroadcast on YouTube the following day. And as I said, sometime before then, I will have a new interview up on the YouTube channel, so you can check that out. Until then, I am Gazbot.
I am the Big Dawg Defender.
And to the power.
See you guys later.
See it.